Finally, Season 3 of Battlefield 6 has arrived, and honestly, it feels like there is a bunch of steps into the right direction. I'm honestly surprised by some of the changes they've made. Some are great, some are less so, but I feel that they are in the right direction still. So let's go. I've been playing, well, as much as I could, and let's see what Season 3 is bringing up. So first of all, and the star of this first section, is the new map, Railway to Goldmood, which is essentially just a remake of Goldmood Railway from Battlefield 4. I believe it was the biggest map when Battlefield 4 came out. Well, one of them. By far the biggest map in Battlefield 6. And TLDR, it's pretty damn good. They have changed the map to modernize it, and I think it works fantastically. They say that they focus on... Because you need to keep in mind, Goldmood Railway has always been a vehicle map. Tons of vehicles, a lot of open space, and you just smash each other. In the old map, the infantry tend to suffer quite a bit, because there were a lot of open spaces and you will just get mowed down by tanks and helicopters. They have added a lot more cover on it, especially in the town area to the north, which... From the matches I've played, at least in Conquest, the bulk of the fighting focuses in that area because there is 2 capture points within the town. They have added a bunch of buildings. It can get a bit chaotic while you are fighting within the town. And if a few vehicles roll in and you don't have anything backing you up, it can get rough. But there is a lot of points to ambush and work around them. The main thing of this map, the most recognizable thing, is the train. However, it doesn't take part as much into the fighting. No, but it is a gimmick for the map, but it is a very nice, it is a very fun gimmick. So the train works differently like what it did in Battlefield 4. In the original map, when a team takes control of the train, it will take the train towards your own base. That led to the train essentially sitting in your base for most of the match, becoming very hard for the other team to capture because he was very much in your territory. That has been changed. Now when you take control, the train starts moving towards the opposite direction, to the enemy base. So at some point you're gonna be very close to the closest point near the enemy base, and of course to the enemy base. So the train pretty much switches sides constantly throughout the match. The southern area of the map, I would say, is pretty amazing. They have extended that area, I feel. They modify like a power station. That one has been extended, added a bunch of more cover and buildings, and they separated a bit more the warehouses that are closer to the coast. Overall, I think is very, very good. There is also a lot of changes to the vehicles, mostly that they are far more resilient. They can take a beating. One of my biggest problems with Battlefield 6 is that the vehicle gameplay, overall it didn't feel as good as previous games in terms of responsiveness and how you acquire targets. They felt clunky, but they also felt weak. I remember in previous Battlefield games, like in Battlefield 3, which is the one I played the most by far, tanks were very scary things. And in Battlefield 6, it has always felt since the beginning that they were kinda weak. Like you set up a bunch of mines that were nerfed in the previous season, by the way, and you just hit it like maybe one time with a rocket or two if he ate a mine, and that's it, they're gone. Don't get me wrong, you can still kill them pretty quickly if you focus them with a bunch of engineers, but right now they can take a few more shots. Now you need to... It really pays off if you hit them where they're weakest, in the back or the top. And I think it's a very good change. I don't think I felt more fun playing with a tank that right now in Goldmood Railway. Besides, there is just so many of them. I think in Conquest each side spawns 3 MBTs and 2 IFVs, I think, and a bunch of others, but I think it's 3 MBTs plus the closest point to each base also spawns an additional MBT, and there is others in several other areas that respawn. So you can end up with like, I don't know, 8 at the same time. It's crazy. It's a lot of fun when you are running around with 2 or 3 tanks in like a formation. Gives me Battlefield 3 vibes, you know, from the campaign. So I think if you like vehicle gameplay, you're gonna love this map because it's the most open map for that sort of play, which is honestly what Battlefield has always been, you know, big maps, a lot of vehicles, and blowing shit up. I love smaller maps. In fact, Siege of Cairo is one of my favorite maps in the game. And I was missing something like this. When the game was about to release, I thought Mirak Valley would get this kind of feeling. But that map is heavily focused in infantry. Despite the fact that you have a bunch of vehicles, you don't get this feeling of an actual like armor division fighting each other. A bunch of helicopters. Oh, another great change. The flying area around the maps and when you are out of bounds, it's massive. The helicopter, but especially the jets, can go really far away. I think even behind the mountains in the north of the map, which gives them a lot more freedom of movement. So you can fly really far away, pretty much away from anything unless another plane is following you. Plan your route or your attack run, and then fly in, hit whatever you want, and get out as fast as possible. That is also something that I find really appealing. Like I said, very, very focused in vehicles, this map. But with the new changes to the infantry, to the cover that you have in the map, you don't feel completely exposed. Sure, there are points where you're running across an open field, and if a tank pops up anywhere close to you, you're dead. But there is a lot more cover, a lot more places that you can take cover and hide. Overall, the map is fantastic, in my opinion. And I am very, very excited for Cairo Bazaar, which is it's coming on June 9th in the second section for this Season 3. That is a remake of Grand Bazaar from Battlefield 3. Like I said, Battlefield 3, it's probably the one I play the most, and I play the shit out of that map. I love it. Also, for people that enjoy RedSec, we got Ranked Battle Royale. For now, it's only 4 quads, so it only teams of 4. But if you've been playing RedSec, and you may want something a bit more competitive. But we also got a bunch of changes with the vehicle changes. There was also some changes to recoil that are not that good, but I still think they're in the right direction, even if they were applied poorly. And we got 3 new weapons. Assault Rifle, M16A4, the first burst rifle in the game. That one. Then the new LMG, the RPK-74M, which is essentially very little recoil and lower damage. And the sniper rifle, the L115, which is essentially the AWP of Counter-Strike. Okay, if you play Counter-Strike, you know the sniper. I think this one was in Battlefield 4, I believe. Supposedly, it's meant to be used at longer distances. Aesthetically, I love it. I love the sound, but I've only played it briefly. It's the first one you're gonna unlock. Then I did unlock the M16 because I was very excited for the M16, and it's just so much fun. I would say it's very, very good. It feels... Okay, it's not the best gun in the game, and not every new gun needs to be, please. But I'll say it feels good to shoot. It feels pretty good. Feels pretty good. I'm liking it very much. Besides, it's a gun that aesthetically I've always liked from, you know, movies and other video games. Oh yeah, the changes on the recoil. While they needed to change the recoil in the guns, so I think it's a step into the right direction in the feedback that players have actually given DICE. Like, hey, the guns feel many times way too similar to each other, like laser beams. You can... pretty much every gun had at least one build that allowed you to just laser beam. But I watched a video from Enders, and he went over it. They've increased the random recoil, I think inadvertently. They've tried to increase the vertical and horizontal recoil, but apparently that has caused to an increase in the random recoil. It's not the right thing to do, because there's nothing you can do with that. But I feel like it's a step into the right direction in terms of, yes, at least they are increasing the recoil. Let's see if they can tweak it so it increases the recoil without adding randomness or too much to the firing. But that's the patch of today. It may feel a little bit light, but if you look at the roadmap for Season 3, there is one thing that is unmistakably missing from any of the 3 of the stages, and that is limited time modes. If you pay attention to the roadmap, ignore the these 2 that says limited time event. That is actually season pass, a small season pass, so it's not an actual mode, okay? There is no limited time modes. Okay, so we get the new map, Ranked Battle Royale, 3 new guns. On the second run, we get the other new map, which is Cairo Bazaar. A new mode, which is Obliteration. That one is from Battlefield 4. It's essentially you need to find a bomb randomly spawns in the map. You need to go, grab it, escort the one that has the bomb to an MCOM, and he needs to plant it, defend it, and it will blow up. One new gun, the PP-19, which is a new SMG, and a new gadget, which is a handheld jammer. And in the third section, we got a new mode, which is Tactical Obliteration, which is essentially Obliteration, but 8v8. So smaller maps and more focus into squads. Casual Battle Royale, and a new melee weapon, which I don't give a shit. I don't particularly care. I'm fine with the knife. The hammer is very good. The others are just... Sure. There is no limited time modes. And I think that is the biggest tell that apparently they're moving into what I think is the right direction for Battlefield. In the previous seasons, Season 1 and Season 2, and especially Season 2, there seemed to be a lot of focus into limited time mode. If you watch the Season 1 roadmap, we got, in the first section, we got RedSec when it released, 1 new mode, 1 vehicle, 1 new map, and a bunch of guns. Okay, that was good. Second, we got more stuff for RedSec, another new map, a limited time mode called Sabotage, another new vehicle, which is just a gimmick vehicle, which is the golf cart. We got the battle pickups and 2 new guns, and then you got yet another limited time mode for both Gauntlet, so RedSec, and the base game. And that was already like, yeah, sure, because those modes were like very gimmicky. It's fun for a while, but it's not something that you're gonna return to the game for. However, in Season 2, they went overboard with it. We got Contaminated, which is great map, but we got the limited time mode, which was the Crazy Gas. New vehicle, which is something that I would think that could have been nice in Season 3. Season 3 has no new vehicles. A bunch of new guns. And then you got Hagentel Base, small map, very good as well, but another limited time mode. Again, the Nightfall mode. Very gimmicky. It was fun because you could actually hide in the shadows and you had to go with night vision. It also applied to RedSec. Again, another vehicle and 2 new guns. And then we got yet another limited time mode. So that's the third one in one season. But this one hurt because it was Operation Augur. I made a video about it and I said that it lacked a bit of the punch from Battlefield 1 operations, but it was still the mode I played the most since it came out. Sadly, that was a limited time mode, and I think that one is a bit of a miss. I wish that would have been a permanent. Just add the operation, just put it there, who cares? And I'm sad that we don't get a new operation in this season. So, Season 2 felt like it was DICE, or most likely EA, doubling down into FOMO and limited time stuff. Just to try to pressure people into coming back to the game because, oh, you got this new thing and you're only going to be able to play it right now. Which I think is stupid in general, but if it's like a season, like a holiday thing, like the Ice Log for Christmas, sure, okay, I get it. If it had a Christmas theme, it didn't. But operations, dude. We also got the LTV, so we got 3 vehicles. Well, it was the LTV, but the NATO variant. We already got that one in Season 1, but it's technically 3 new vehicles. And when you go to Season 3, there is none. I wish we got at least 1 new vehicle, you know, maybe not the Maybe not the melee weapon and put a vehicle in there. It doesn't matter. However, Season 3 goes from 3 limited time modes in the base game to none. And with meaningful changes to the way the game plays, even though the recall thing is, I don't think it's the best way to do it, but it's still trying to push it into that direction. So I kind of feel hopeful for the game. I think it's taking steps into the direction it should. And remember the roadmap for the year, in which we had Season 3 and then we had Season 4, which will include the remake of Wake Island. That is going to be extremely nostalgic, because I remember playing Wake Island in Battlefield 1942. So good. So good. And Zuru Reef, which is a new map with naval combat. Also for Season 5, we're expected 3 new maps instead of 2, so I feel like, again, we're going into the right direction. I think it should get minimum 3 maps per season. The other thing, but this goes from why it's focused so much in FOMO tactics, the game in many aspects lacks depth. The biggest example of this is the jets customization. You may be thinking, what jet customization? Exactly. The fact that you cannot change the loadout in the planes. It's crazy. I know there are less maps that include planes than pretty much any other vehicle. In order for the game to maintain a bigger player base, and by the way, I feel this is obvious, but apparently not for EA, there was no way in hell the game was going to maintain 800,000 players for a long period of time. Now, I wouldn't have thought it would have dropped so quickly, so much, but still, I think part of that is the depth of the game. Because they focus in FOMO tactics that didn't particularly work, because the limited time modes they included were like in general. So the biggest one was Operation Augur, and it was good, don't get me wrong, it was good, but it's not enough. They chose to focus in that to maintain, and plus the whole philosophy behind the game and how the time to engage needs to be as low as possible. So every time you spawn, you need to be, what it was, 3-5 seconds away from an engagement to maintain the hype, the speed, the action, all the time action. Railway to Golmud, it's a map that, because it's so big, it actually gives you time to breathe. The time to engage can be very high still, because you still have a million ways to spawn in this game, and you can, if you want, spawn very close to the action. But you can spawn in the base to grab a tank, and you're gonna have time to breathe while you get into the battle. Sure, this is not a milsim. No one likes to spawn at the base, walk for 15 minutes to get immediately shot in the head by a sniper, and then have to do that all over again. Okay? This is not Arma. And I'm not asking for that, but it needs a bit of breathing room. When it's all non-stop action, it becomes tiresome. They're not going to change the time to engage, because that's the core philosophy this game was created with. But in a bigger map, it can be... I feel it works a bit better. Talking about the depth of the game, I don't know if you know this, but besides everything I just mentioned in Season 3, we get 3, 5, 7 new attachments for weapons. Speed holster, aftermarket buffer, burst mode, so you can add it as an attachment to weapons to make them burst mode instead of full auto, buckshot, cryogenic barrels, compensator, new compensator, and subsonic ammo. This is what I mean with depth. You need to add more customization to weapons so you can make them more builds with completely different builds. So you add more builds, possible builds for the weapons, and I would love to see it for the vehicles. Pretty much every vehicle has one optimal setup, which completely overshadows anything else. This reminds me of the M4 when the game came out, which was bar none the best gun in the game. So you need more build variety, so people can adapt the guns and the vehicle to the playstyle they like. Pretty much everything in this roadmap, it's going into the right direction, in my opinion. And you need to add loadout options for the jets. When you get Wake Island and Suru Reef, we're gonna have a bunch of jets. Anyway, I think very good, and I think it's going into the way that a Battlefield game should. I am really excited. I'm gonna jump into Goal Mode. I just want to keep playing. I've been having a blast. Either way, thank you guys. Thank you for watching. If you made it to this point, you know the drill. Leave a like, subscribe if you enjoy the video. And let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on Season 3 so far? What do you think of the new map? What do you think of the changes? Have you noticed the changes in recoil? Have you noticed the changes in the vehicles? Let me know in the comments. Once again, thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye bye.